Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. I'm coming to you from the Sweetwater Performance Theater with our good friend Doug Wimbish. Great to see you, man.
What's happening, Mitch?
You are.
Hey, it's good to be here again.
Always great to have you. You're like a regular here at Sweetwater, right?
Working at it.
We love
Working
it.
at it.
We love it. Glad to have you here. So this time around,
Yep.
you're here with Don't Feed the Animals.
Isn't that something?
Tell us what that is.
Well, it's a group that was put together for Winter NAMM that just passed 2019 in Anaheim. And good friend Dave Kotai from Super Pigtronics came up with this great idea to kind of like throw an event at Winter NAMM and also to, just have some other bands play. So we did it, went well, a lot of great activity, a lot of good bands played. And then after that, he was like, you know what, Doug, man, this is great. We got a great band, and why don't we continue on with this? So here we are.
Right.
Just move forward. It was one of these things that just happened.
Right. So who's in the band with you? Who's going to be playing?
Tonight, we have Richard Fortis, Phil X, Brian Tishy, and the singer's Monique.
Right.
Great
Awesome.
band, getting ready to get down.
I heard you guys doing the sound check a little bit earlier. It sounded incredible, man.
Thank you.
That is a big sounding band.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
So they're actually keeping you busy while you're here at Sweetwater. You guys are doing a recording masterclass.
That's correct.
And then tonight you're doing a concert here in the Performance Theater. How does your approach differ when you're going from the studio, gear-wise, from the studio to the stage?
Well, the studio's a completely different animal in itself. That's why Don't Feed the Animals is in the studio, so that we can get our studio groove on. The reason why we're here recording is we have one song that Phil X did, and we were like, it would be great to not only just perform live, but also go in and do a recording of a song, and us, the band, gets an opportunity to get together and just chop things up and have some fun. So it's like it's a 1-2 punch. The recording process is great. It defines, just each individual being able to dial in their tone and to be able to have a way and means for us to bond, kind of, in that couple of hour time frame. Because the studio's about that. You don't have much time to fiddle around. So it's great. We had an idea, which Phil brought to the table. And Phil's idea was, here's an idea, let's all get together and arrange the song while we're here. So that kind of really centered us. It kind of got our brains and our frequencies aligned, you know what I mean? So we could focus on everybody being a part of this creation from ground zero. And that was really good that we did that. And now doing the live gig is, again, the reward. It's kind of like the icing on the cake. We've played before, we're in our environment, and we're also going to perform the song that we recorded yesterday live. So that's kind of that's a great thing when you actually have a plan and you go in and you're not just fiddling around.
Right.
And Mark Hornsby's great. You have the attendees checking out everything and also giving their input. Because it's this is a new band. It's fresh off the grill. People are seeing us, chopping the music up, having a conversation from the beginning. So it's documented,
right?
And it's kind of unscripted, and that's the sign of a true champagne, in my opinion. I love Richard's frequency. Phil X comes in with it. Brian and I have played together before. Monique, we've done the show at NAMM, like all of us have. So the studio really put us together, gave us that unity, and then now here we are right now, the next day, being able to go, okay, yeah, we were all on the same wavelength. We had a chance to focus on a song and make it happen. So very, very great, very good way to do things.
Nice.
I'm really happy about that.
I can't wait to hear the show.
Really happy.
Right. So we have 3 manufacturers who have helped out with bringing you in: Spector, Eventide, and Dunlop. So let's take a tour of how their gear is working into your rig.
Yeah, it's cool.
Do you want to start with the basses, or do you want to start with your command central here?
Well, let's start with the command central here real quick, and we'll move on to the grand finale. My Spector basses. Over the years, I've always been engaged in sound, and being a session musician, the more sounds and the more frequencies you have to offer for different artists, it's good. It's good to have that in your arsenal. First and foremost, I'm the effect. If I have to go in and just play straight, which is mainly what I do, I'm more than cool with it and happy understanding the music first.
Right.
Now, 2019, there's a wide variety of frequencies and sounds going on. So as a bassist, I'm fortunate to be able to have spent many years to engage in making sounds. So I'm like, yeah, here we are. We're all arriving into this age of frequencies and sounds, but still keeping it traditional. So one of the things that I always like that works is overdrive, you know, and a sense of being able to just, it's the shape of the note. Whatever you're doing, it's always the shape of the note. So it's good to be able to just, as a bassist, just change the shapes. So I'm playing rock, a little bit of rock, I need to maybe edge it up a little bit. One of the units that I use for that is the Pigtronics Distortion. It's just a great pedal. It has a wide variety of distorted sounds, but overdrive sounds, and it can just simply give a nice frequency to the track. So for example, sometimes I can play the bass line, it sounds great, it's cool, but for certain sections of the song, it needs a different character. Sure. You know, and music is about the different, you know, there's roles that we play as a bassist. And I try to find the right character for the artist that I'm working for, and that comes from conversation. And then a lot of times it's just trial and error. You plug something in, turn it on, either it works or it doesn't work. But I try these things when I'm allowed to do it. The Distortion is a great unit that gives me that capability of having one simple small unit that can give a wide range of overdrive and subtle distortions to, you know, kind of like really over the top distortions. Sure. And nowadays, I enjoy it. You never know where it's going to come in at. You never know how you're going to use it. But, you know, if you're given the opportunity and the music is kind of like calling for it, turn it on. Right. Give it a go. Sure. So I use that. That's something that I use a lot. The Pigtronics pedal. Next to that is a Mothership, which is a pedal that Dave made a while ago, and he's done a lot of different pedals. Dave Kotai is a friggin' genius. And this particular pedal here it's like a synth, but it also has overdrive and distortions kind of like in it, depending on how you manipulate the different knobs and stuff like that. Very unique unit. The good thing about it is these two units work in you can connect both of them together and you really get these interesting sounds coming up. So I can get a good, superb overdrive with tweaking both of those pedals, the Distortion and the Mothership 2 in series, and it's just great. I mean, that's fantastic pedals. So I'm really happy with those two pedals.
Right, awesome. Awesome. And then you have a Dunlop wah, it looks like over here, and then some expression pedals?
Yeah, here's the deal with that. This is a Q535 mini wah. And a while ago I had talked to Jimmy Dunlop and Daryl Anders, and I had requested if they could make a mini wah that wasn't the bass wah, because I used the 535Q, the mother of them all, this bigger one, normal size wah-wah pedal. And, you know, I'm trying to go smaller now, so they did it. They sent me a unit, and what color do you want it? Do you want it, Doug? I'll take it in purple. Okay, cool. So I got that, used it, worked well. Just recently, they sent another version, a little updated, and I just got this fresh off the grill a couple of weeks ago. So thing I like about that is, for bass, it's like, you know, I'm an old Sly and the Family Stone fan, you know? So a lot of songs from the 60s had, you know, when wah-wah first came out, it was something that you heard a lot. So I always kind of have in the back of my head this Sly and the Family Stone wah-wah song going on, or a John Shaft, Isaac Hayes wah-wah going on, or a wah-wah Watson wah-wah going on, because a lot of records that I grew up, when wah-wah was introduced, James Brown, it was all there. So putting wah-wah through the bass, also for different sections of the songs, it gives it a different color, you know, and these wah-wahs are great because you can adjust the frequencies to be able to still give it some solid tones. And if you really want to go into the world of like, the guitar player's not showing up today, who else can cut this part, then you have an opportunity to even pull that off. Sure. That running into the wah-wah being fed from the Distortion and the Mothership too, it just creates these vowels and sounds that are really good for certain styles of music. Right. Really good. Really great pedals. Small, not taking up too much real estate, And I got to tip my hat to the guy, to Jimmy Dunlop, for what he's done. He's done a great job with that pedal.
Right. Awesome.
And the expression pedals, let's talk about that. A lot of devices that I use have expression pedal inputs, you know, and that's really where the hidden gems are at. It's like you get a nut, but you got to crack the nut to get the actual little bits of, you know, things you can nibble on inside. Right. So a lot of things that are features that are really unleashed are coming from your expression pedal in certain devices. And that is such a great pedal because not only is it a expression pedal, it's a volume pedal as well. Okay. So it has duality coming right out the box. It's small, I love it. They're sturdy, they're solid. Again, they don't take up that much real estate. I mean, I can almost hit both of them with 1 foot, you know, like that, stuff like that. So nowadays, if, you know, things that are, that you can, that are small and are accessible, put them in your backpack, put them in your suitcase, put them in your small case of devices and sounds and pedals. That's a great, great, great pedal.
Right.
I use it primarily as an expression pedal.
Okay.
They're really good, solid as a rock.
Right. And that lets you go from having kind of a static effect to being able to perform with that effect by using your foot to control it.
Yes. You know,
cool
if you're using a device that has an expression pedal and there's a flange or a chorusing or delays, it's endless what you can do with that because now you can actually control what's being fed into the actual device itself, into the input. You can control the delays that are happening. You know, you can make them continuously feedback, push back, and they go away. So you have, you know, control is the key. Right. When you can have control of a device and open up open up the gates, let the floodgates open up of sound. That's where it comes from.
Right, right. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you have a new pedal on the board since last time I saw you, and that's the Eventide Rose.
Ooh, that's a smoker. Fresh off the grill. Ladies and gentlemen, I just got this. It is a delicious pedal.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's a flanger, phaser, chorus, delay, and it's just got some other crazy sounds going on. It's like a classic world of analog and digital crashing together, right? I'm just opening the treasure chest.
Right.
You know, I'm looking at all the gold on the top, but there's a lot of sonic underneath in that chest, and can't wait to get back home to actually deep dive in. What I'm really, you know, I just started messing around with it a few days ago, but what I really noticed is it's a heavy pedal, but with an expression pedal, you just start to open up all these duality sounds going on. So again, the expression pedal, going into that is where the party really gets, you know, you see the party is now, you know, the party might be kicking it from 8 o'clock to 12. Well, from 12 to 2 a.m., it's rocking. That's 12 to 2 a.m. when you hook the volume, the expression pedal up to that.
Right.
It's some really crazy sounds in there.
Right, nice.
It's really sci-fi, but still traditional, great rich chorus, very rich flanging in these combinations. So I'm looking forward to coming back here and deep diving in once I have a chance to sit and see what I can actually do with this.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. Yeah. Yeah, and of course, you're one of the few people I know who has 2 H9s. One's not enough. You got to have 2.
Well, here's the story with this. You know, I've been an Eventide fan from day one when I started recording at All Platinum Records, then Sugar Hill. Chris Lord Algie and I, we were both young kiddies on the block at the studio. Him being an assistant engineer, I'm being the young bassist. We would get in the studio before anybody would show up. There would be like rack-mounted, you know, Eventide devices on the wall, and Chris would be like, "Yo, Doug, man, check this out, man. Let's just play around." He'd plug my bass into a different, instant flange or a phaser or a delay unit, and we just play around like kids. So it started there, and then fast forward, you know, there was the H3000 that came out, which was which still is a very unique and distinct sounding device, right? So in the 80s, I was dialing into that. And I always wanted to have something that wasn't rack mounted, you know, but had the power of a rack mounted unit in a pedal.
Right.
And when Ray Maxwell contacted me from Eventide in regards to what they were doing and coming up with the H9, and they kind of got me involved, you know, to kind of like just check it out, you know. I was flabbergasted. So what I saw they were in the process of doing, I thought, and I hate to use this word, game changer, but it was going to be a pedal that was going to open up the next quadrant of pedals, in a sense. You know, stereo in, stereo out. You can control it from your iPhone or your iPad. Endless capabilities. It's pretty much the engine and how it's put together is coming from an H9000, in a sense, you know, and they're still working on that. Or maybe a 3000, don't quote me on that. But my point is, here is a device that can do pretty much everything sonically that you want, from gating, compression, delay, flanger, reverbs, distortions, envelope filters, panning. You know, it's endless, and I've just scratched the surface with this thing. So I always say, you know, if I had to go to Mars and if I was on a desert island, what pedal would I take? It'd be that one, hands down. Now this gold one is very unique. At the NAMM show, a lot of companies will make these kind of like pedals or casings that are to pop out for the NAMM show, for the people to see, oh, what's that? So Eventide made 3, at first, gold H9s. And they gifted these H9s to 3 people. One to Vernon Reid, second one to George Clinton, and the third one to myself.
Nice.
These are made out of 24 karat plated gold.
Wow.
Now, other folks would have taken them and put them in a display case. I'm like, are you kidding me? Put that jammy in the chain, man. Let's get it going, man. You know, George Clinton takes his, puts a chain around it, and he's wearing it straight hip hop.
There you go.
You know what I mean? But you know, let's look at the reality. It was George. What's the connection? When you know, I'm a huge George Clinton fan. A lot of the early Funkadelic records, when it wasn't tape, that they were recording and slowing it down so you can get a really low, hey, what's up, Mitch voice, became the H3000 maybe being used or whatever. Even before that, it was probably another device. But anyway, it was able to, you know, he was using Eventide devices to take his voice from very low to very high. So it was great that really George Clinton was the first one to get and to be recognized from Eventide. I thought that was just brilliant. Because what he's done sonically still stands the test of time. But this is my favorite, one of my favorite pedals. I love every one of my pedals are unique and are needed. These just happen to have all cylinders are working. It's a very multi-purpose pedal. Even if you don't want to use the other features, you just want to plug it in. Maybe you just need a little reverb, a little phasing, or some compression or whatever. It's there, and it's still evolving. So it's like a universal pedal, and the universe, as they say, is still expanding. Well, I think this pedal is still expanding. There you go. And that's the sign of a true champagne. I've only begun to scratch the surface with this thing.
Yeah, so, it's a lifelong pursuit digging into that, that's for sure. And I love that you have this one on your board and didn't just lock it away somewhere.
Guys, honestly, if I could have a pedal board full of H9s, I would do it in a minute. You know, and I'm still, you know, I just love what they do, and the company is a very open company. I love the relationship of Pigtronics and H9. You know, because look, at the end of the day, talent recognizes talent. And I was so thankful that at Summer NAMM I was able to introduce the guys from Eventide to Pigtronics. And there was just like this kind of bond going on. And it's just the respect of the art. You know, and Dave Kotai is salt of the earth, man. He's just so pumped. He's like, yeah, man, I love that. He makes his own pedals. So you have to give respect. You know, when you see something that's good, you think, look, he's got an H9 on his pedal board. You know, so it's like, this is a sign of a true champagne. And both companies I think it's just great to have that relationship with companies that are selling products, but they're also checking out each other's stuff. So that's a great thing. It's great.
Right on. That's great. That's awesome. So let's wrap things up with a dive into these incredible basses. And we've talked a little bit about these before, but man, there are stories here, right?
Yeah, there's some stories here, brother.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll start from the beginning. I don't know how far you want me to deep dive into it, because we've told the story before. Shall I tell it again?
Yeah, give us a quick rundown.
I'll give you a quick rundown. Okay, Spector bass, Little brief history. I first heard a Spector bass in 1990 from Aaron Mills, bass player in Cameo. He was playing Stuart Spector's Brooklyn-made Spector bass. It might have even been one of the early ones that he had with the preamp, as I had a conversation with Stuart just recently. Fast forward, I took a shining to the sound of it. Fast forward, I'm in the presence of Sting, and I got a chance to hang out with him from the horn section I was working with from Sugar Hill Gang. They were on the road with Sting. He had an NS2 that he used, on a white one. And I'm at the gig, 10th row center, and I heard him play that bass. And I was like, man, the shape of the note sounds great, Mitch. It was just unbelievable. Fast forward now, here I am. I'm at a rehearsal with Mick Jagger and Jeff Beck at SIR. And the Kramer era had arrived. Eddie Van Halen, the guitars with the built-in Floyd Roses came out, right? So now we're rehearsing. The guys from Kramer came to see Jeff Beck, to maybe see what he thought about the guitars. Okay, so Jeff and I are together. Walk in, the guys show Jeff some of the guitars. He's very cordial. He's like, yeah, that's cool. But he had his own, he's doing his own thing. Thank you guys. And he kind of kept moving into the rehearsal studio. And then I'm still there, and then the guys, my friend Pierre de Beaupart, who had told me about Spector, is like, well, Dougie is interested in using Spectors. And so so I kind of like, that's how it started. I was just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And I got an opportunity to actually get introduced to the brand. So at that time, Stuart only had one bass that he would loan to people. He wasn't kind of like, oh, you're interested in the brand, here's a bass. No, it was like, here, check this out first. If you like it, give it back. I got the loaner bass, used it in the studio with Mick. Mick really loved the tone of it. And then, cool, so that's where it began. Now, how this came to be, fast forward. We're about to do a tour with Mick, 87, 1987. And Stuart is like, you know what, tell me what you want. I'll make a bass for your specs, kind of like. I was more interested in the neck profile. So I said, let's make a neck thinner, kind of like a jazz bass neck, and let's start there. So he started shaving it down, and he hadn't done that before. A little nervous in how it was going to hold up, but he ended up shaving, the neck down. So he bought just this piece here. Bought that to me. I was in this car, limo, and he's like, what do you think about this? Shave it down a little bit more. Anyway, we ended up getting this neck profile, and to compensate for the neck profile and the neck being thinner, he had to shave the body down a little bit. Okay, and that's why this body and this neck is thinner than traditional Spector basses. So over the years, once I got this bass and started using it, I was like, it's like it's a match made in heaven. I can't tell you everybody how thankful I was that Stuart did this, but to actually have an instrument that is it's part of you, it's part of your life. You can really express yourself with it, And I look at it like this. There's two eras of bass. There's the era of Leo Fender, passive basses, the father of a lot of electric bass, in my opinion. And then there's the era of Stuart Spector and the era of active instruments, And with Stuart came a group of builders. Not only was it Stuart, it was Ned Steinberger, it was Federo, who was an apprentice to Stuart, I believe, at that time. They were working together. Harvey Citron, Mike Tobias, they were all sharing a space in Brooklyn for the up-and-coming guys. So it was that it was that bass builders unity, that everybody getting together, sharing ideas, sharing the shop, So this is a result of that era. Right, it really is. And I see the Stuart Spector in being the bass of the modern era of active electronic basses. And just the shape of the body was unique. It's curved, and it wasn't like flat slabbed. So I hadn't seen a bass with a body like this.
No, when that came out, it was revolutionary.
It's quite revolutionary.
It still is a unique shape and a unique approach.
Yeah, so I mean, this one is just, I mean, look at it. It's had some.
You've played it a little bit.
I played it a little bit. You could see it's been used. It hasn't just been polished up and, and it's 32 years old. So that's this one. Now, moving on to this one. This is a 5-string that I got at the same time, a few months later. And Stewart had just started making 5-string basses. So he made this one in 1987 as well. A gorgeous bass. I mean, it was absolutely stunning. And I played on a lot of records with that bass, but with this bass, because in the 80s, synth bass was out. The frequencies were getting a little bit lower, so I had to try to chime in. So, and at the same time, Stewart was experimenting with new colors and stuff. And he didn't know how things were going to work out, you know. So the original color of this bass was that.
It was a deep blue kind of.
It was a deep, deep blue. It's even faded there. But over the years and the lights hitting it, it turned to that color.
That's beautiful. That's just gorgeous.
It's just seasoned, isn't it? It's like it's still living. It's like alive. It's like the wood reclaimed, you know, any paint or whatever that happened to it. It's like, okay, you can stay on there for a little bit, but you know what? Time to go. And this thing has really been it's been a workhorse. I mean, I've done so many records with this. But it's a 1-2 punch. I need both of these. I go back and forth when I'm doing a recording to see what feels better. The acrobatics are a little bit, I can have better acrobatics to a sense on that in certain styles. This is just, you know, serious fundamentals, serious low end, but it's the shape of the note that both of these basses produce.
Right. That,
in my opinion, that's just, for me, they work for me. So.
Awesome.
Welcome. This is, I believe, the 9th, 5th string Stewart Spector ever made. So you're looking at a real classic here.
No doubt.
And this is from that golden era. So you can equate this to any really early Fender or any other bass that was or instrument that was made along. This is it. I mean, this is the last of the Mohegans. I think that's it. These two are very rare instruments, and I'm glad to have them here, and I'm glad that Sweetwater is actually. Putting out the brand finally. You know, Stewart's gone through a lot over the years, and I have been with him every step of the way.
Right.
Every step of the way.
That's loyal support.
And I love him to bits. So here's to you, Stewart, my good friend, everybody. Love you. Great bassist, check them out. Spector in the area.
That is so awesome. I can't wait to hear it on stage
Hey,
tonight.
man. Thank you, Mitch. You gonna sing with us?
Yeah, right.
Thank you, guys.
So. You don't want that.
All right.
Thanks, Doug. Great to see you.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining me in the Sweetwater Performance Theater. I'm Mitch Gallagher.